Welcome to the Property Wealth Podcast, where we dive into the world of real estate investing, especially for those of us over 40 who are looking to build long-term wealth.
Yeah, and today we've got something really interesting lined up. We're talking about using home equity lines for down payments. It's a strategy that can open up some exciting opportunities.
Exactly. So if you've been sitting on some equity in your home, or if you're curious about how to leverage that for your next investment, you're in the right place.
We'll cover how home equity lines work, the benefits and risks involved, and some practical tips on how to get started.
And we'll share some real-life examples too, so you can see how others have successfully used this strategy.
Right. It's all about making informed decisions and finding what works best for you.
So let's jump right in. First off, Mike, can you explain what a home equity line of credit actually is, and how it differs from a traditional mortgage?
You know, Sarah, it's really interesting how using home equity lines for down payments is becoming more relevant, especially for folks over 40 today. I mean, when you look at retirement timelines, a lot of people are starting to think about how they can maximize their assets and protect their retirement savings against inflation.
Absolutely, Mike. With inflation rising, it's like a wake-up call for many. People in their 40s and 50s, they're really starting to feel the pinch. It's not just about saving anymore. It's about making smart moves with what they already have.
Right, and that's where home equity comes into play. Many homeowners in that age group have built up substantial equity in their homes over the years. It's like having a hidden treasure chest, you know?
Exactly. And they can use that equity to buy investment properties, which can provide a steady income stream as they approach retirement. I remember talking to a client. Let's call her Linda. She was in her early 50s and had a good amount of equity in her home.
Oh, I know Linda. She was at a crossroads, right?
Yes, she was. She was nervous about dipping into that equity, but after we broke down the numbers and showed her how it could help her secure her financial future, she felt more at ease.
And that's so common. Many people worry about taking on more debt, but leveraging home equity can actually be a smart strategy, especially when you've got a solid plan in place.
Right. It's all about the bigger picture. For Linda, using a home equity line meant she could purchase a rental property. Now she has that extra income coming in, which not only boosts her cash flow, but also adds to her overall wealth.
And let's not forget about market shifts. The real estate market can be unpredictable, but having that equity can provide a cushion during downturns. It gives homeowners options. Flexibility.
That flexibility is huge. I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is to have multiple income streams as they get closer to retirement.
Exactly. And when you think about the wealth transfer to family, that's another aspect. Many people want to leave something behind for their kids. By investing smartly now, they can build a legacy that not only helps their children, but also sets them up for a better future.
I love that perspective. It's not just about the here and now, but also about what you're building for future generations.
Yes, and with the current economic trends, it's crucial to stay ahead of the curve. You know, with interest rates fluctuating and the potential for a recession looming, having that buffer of home equity can really help.
It's like a safety net, right? If things get tight, having accessible equity can make a significant difference in how someone navigates tough times.
Definitely. I've seen it firsthand. One of my friends, let's call him Tom, he used his home equity to invest in a multifamily property. He was worried about looming retirement, but that investment has really changed his outlook.
Oh, I remember Tom. He was able to not only generate income, but also build equity in that new property.
Right. And now he's looking at whether he can do it again. It's like a snowball effect. The more he invests, the more secure he feels about his financial future.
That's such a powerful story, and it really highlights how using home equity can be a game changer, especially when you're thinking about your retirement timeline.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your financial destiny. Home equity lines can serve as a powerful tool, but the emotional side of this is just as important.
Absolutely. Financial security is a big deal, especially as you approach retirement. People want to feel safe and secure, and knowing they have options can really ease that anxiety.
Right, and it's important to remember that there's a psychological benefit too. When you see your investments growing, it gives you a sense of accomplishment, a feeling that you're on the right track.
Yes, and that can be so motivating. It's about creating a positive feedback loop where success breeds more success.
And for many, it's also about lifestyle. Investing wisely can open up opportunities for travel, hobbies, or even just enjoying life without the constant worry about finances.
Exactly. And let's be real. Nobody wants to be in a position where they're struggling financially as they get older. It's about finding peace of mind.
Well said. So as we transition into the core strategies, it's crucial to keep in mind that using home equity lines isn't just a financial strategy. It's a way to build a better future for yourself and your family.
Yes, and understanding how to leverage that equity effectively can truly set you up for success. So, what are some practical strategies we can share with our listeners?
So let's dive into how you can use home equity lines, or HELOCs, for down payments. It's a pretty powerful tool if you do it right.
Right, and I think a lot of people might not even realize they have this option available to them. So, what's the first step?
Well, the first thing is to understand how much equity you actually have in your home. You can do this by getting an appraisal or checking recent sales in your neighborhood. Typically, lenders will allow you to borrow up to 80% of your home's equity.
Got it. So if your home is worth, say, $400,000 and you owe $250,000 on your mortgage, you'd have $150,000 in equity, right?
Exactly. Using that 80% rule, you could potentially access up to $120,000 for HELOC. That's quite a chunk of change for a down payment.
And that could really open up some investment opportunities. But let's break this down for our listeners. What would that look like in practice?
Sure. Let's say you find a rental property listed at $300,000. If you use $60,000 from your HELOC as a down payment, that's 20% of the purchase price.
Which means you wouldn't have to pay private mortgage insurance, right?
Exactly. And that's a big deal, because I can eat into your cash flow. Now, let's talk about the 1% rule.
Oh, I love that rule. It's such a simple way to quickly evaluate if a property is a good investment.
Right? So the 1% rule states that the monthly rent should be at least 1% of the purchase price of the property. So for that $300,000 house, you'd want to aim for a monthly rent of $3,000.
That's a good benchmark to keep in mind. If you're not hitting that, it might be a sign to look elsewhere.
Exactly. And if you're hitting it, then you can start looking at your cash flow. After accounting for your mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, are you still in the black?
Yeah, and speaking of that, what about the 50% rule?
The 50% rule is another quick way to estimate expenses. It suggests that about 50% of your rental income will go toward operating expenses. So if you're bringing in $3,000 a month, you'd want to budget around $1,500 for expenses.
That's super helpful for planning. It's like a quick sanity check on your investment's viability.
Exactly! And then there's the cap rate, which is also crucial for evaluating potential investments. It's calculated by taking your net operating income and dividing it by the property's purchase price.
Right. So if that $300,000 property generates $36,000 a year in rent minus your expenses, let's say $18,000, your net operating income would be $18,000, and your cap rate would be 6%.
Spot on. A cap rate of 6% is generally considered good, especially if you're looking for a cash-flowing rental. It gives you a quick snapshot of the property's profitability.
And for listeners just starting out, keeping all these numbers in your head can be tough. Is there a checklist you recommend for evaluating deals?
Absolutely. I'd say start with these basics: purchase price, expected rental income, annual expenses, financing costs, and then calculate your cash flow and cap rate.
So essentially, you're looking for a balance of good cash flow and a reasonable cap rate, right?
Exactly. And don't forget about location. The market conditions can really impact your investment's performance.
Yeah, like understanding the local rental market and vacancy rates. You want to invest in areas with strong demand.
Right. And speaking of financing options, when you're using a HELOC, it's important to factor in the interest rates and how that will affect your cash flow.
Sure, and those rates can vary quite a bit. So what's your advice there?
Well, it's best to shop around. Look for competitive rates and consider the terms of the HELOC. Some lenders might offer variable rates that could change over time, so be cautious.
That's a good point. And if someone is considering multiple properties, should they be cautious about how much they take out on a HELOC?
Definitely. It's easy to get carried away, thinking you can leverage your equity for more properties. But you need to make sure you're not over-leveraging, which can lead to financial strain.
Yeah, and that's why having a solid plan in place is crucial.
Right, and speaking of plans, let's not forget about the exit strategy. What's your plan if the market turns or if you want to sell in the future?
That's a great point. It's not just about buying and holding. It's about knowing when to sell or even how to handle a property that's not performing as expected.
Exactly. And you'll want to consider factors like appreciation potential, neighborhood developments, and even your personal financial goals too.
So it sounds like we've covered a lot of ground on using HELOCs for real estate investing. But I think it's important to address common pitfalls as well, right?
Absolutely. Knowing what to avoid can be just as crucial as knowing what to do.
Let's dig into that next.
So, Sarah, when it comes to using home equity lines for down payments, one of the biggest pitfalls is definitely over-leveraging. A lot of folks get excited about the potential and just dive in without really understanding the implications.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like they see the equity and think, oh, this is free money, right?
Exactly. But it's not free money. It's debt. And when you stretch yourself too thin, it can really backfire. I had a client once, let's call him Tom. He had a good chunk of equity in his home and decided to pull out a significant amount to buy multiple investment properties.
Wow, multiple properties at once? That sounds risky.
It was, and he thought he could manage them all. But then he started struggling with cash flow. He underestimated the costs associated with owning those properties, and soon enough, he was juggling multiple mortgages without enough rental income to cover them.
Oof, that sounds stressful. I guess that's where the cash flow issue comes in?
Absolutely. And that's another common mistake, ignoring cash flow. You really need to know your numbers inside and out. Just because a property looks good on paper doesn't mean it'll generate positive cash flow.
Right, I mean, what's the point of owning a property if it's draining your finances instead of growing them?
Exactly. In Tom's case, he had a couple of bad tenants who weren't paying on time, which really added to his stress. It's important to screen tenants thoroughly. Check references, do background checks, all that good stuff.
For sure. Bad tenants can really make or break a situation. So how did Tom recover from all of that?
Well, he had to sell one of his properties at a loss just to stay afloat. It was a tough lesson for him, but it taught him the importance of cash reserves and tenant screening.
That's a hard way to learn, but sometimes those lessons stick the most.
They do. And it's not just about tenants either. I've seen people ignore hidden costs, like maintenance, repairs, and property management fees. You really have to factor those in when calculating potential profits.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you think you're making money, but then those unexpected expenses come up and wipe out your profits.
Right. I had another client, let's call her Lisa, who purchased a property without fully budgeting for repairs. She thought the place was in great shape, but shortly after moving in, she discovered a leaky roof that cost thousands to fix.
Yikes! That must have been a real blow.
It was. And that's why it's so important to do thorough inspections before buying. You need to be aware of what you're getting into. And sometimes, even with an inspection, there are hidden issues that don't surface until later.
So would you say it's crucial to have a contingency fund set aside for those surprises?
Absolutely. A good rule of thumb is to set aside at least 10 to 15% of your rental income for maintenance and unexpected costs. It's all about being prepared.
That makes sense. What about timing the market? I know that can be a tricky aspect of investing.
Oh, for sure. Many investors get caught up in trying to time the market perfectly, waiting for that best moment to buy. I've seen people miss out on great opportunities because they were too focused on waiting for the next dip.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common trap. You can't predict the market perfectly, right?
Exactly. It's much better to focus on finding the right property that fits your investment strategy, rather than trying to guess when prices will go up or down.
So what would you recommend if someone feels like they're stuck in that mindset?
I'd suggest taking a step back and evaluating your long-term goals. Instead of obsessing over market conditions, focus on cash flow, location, and the potential for appreciation over time. Those factors are way more important.
That makes a lot of sense. So for someone who has made some of these mistakes, what's a good way to recover?
Well, first off, don't panic. Assess your situation calmly. Identify which areas need improvement. If you're over-leveraged, maybe consider selling an underperforming property to reduce your debt load.
And that could help free up some cash flow, right?
Exactly. And if you've got bad tenants, it might be worth investing time in finding better ones, or even considering a property management service if it's within your budget.
That could definitely take some of the stress off.
For sure. And keep educating yourself. Read up on property management, attend seminars, or even join local investment groups. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions.
It sounds like a continuous learning process.
It really is. And remember, every investor makes mistakes at some point. It's all about learning from them and not letting fear hold you back from future opportunities.
Absolutely. I think the key takeaway here is to stay informed, plan for the unexpected, and always keep your cash flow in check.
Spot on, Sarah. And if you can do that, you'll be setting yourself up for a much smoother investing journey in the long run.
Great advice, Mike. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground today.
Definitely. It's all part of the learning curve, and I'm glad we could share these insights.
Okay, so what's next for our listeners?
Well, I think the next step is to take a good look at your current situation, assess where you stand, and make a plan to address any red flags you might have.
That sounds like a solid plan, and I hope everyone feels encouraged to take control of their investment journey.
Absolutely. It's all about making informed choices and building that long-term wealth.
And with that, let's wrap up this episode. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, Mike.
Always a pleasure, Sarah.
And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. We appreciate you.
So let's dive into some immediate steps listeners can take to get started with using home equity lines for down payments.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think the first thing is really understanding your current financial situation, right?
Exactly. So if you haven't already, maybe take a look at your current home equity. You can do this by checking your mortgage statement or using an online calculator.
Right, and tools like Zillow or your local MLS can help you estimate your home's current value if you're not sure.
Absolutely, and once you have an idea of your equity, you can start thinking about how much you might want to borrow. You don't have to take the full amount, just what you need for a down payment.
Speaking of which, I think it's super important to connect with a lender. They can help you understand the specifics of a home equity line of credit, or HELOC, and what that might mean for your financial situation.
Yes, and they'll also give you insights on the interest rates and repayment options. It's really about finding what works best for you.
Once you've got that lined up, I think the next step is to get into the search mode for potential properties.
Definitely. You can use apps like BiggerPockets or DealCheck to analyze potential deals.
Those are such useful tools. I love how they help break down the financials, so you can really see if a property makes sense for you.
And don't forget about Rentometer, which can help you get an idea of rental prices in the area you're considering.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. It's important to know what the rental market looks like, especially if you're considering investment properties.
And you might want to set a habit of analyzing one deal per week. Just pick a property, run the numbers, and see if it's a fit.
That sounds manageable, right? I think doing it weekly keeps you in the habit of learning and improving your understanding.
Exactly. And if you can, join a local real estate meetup or online forums. Engaging with others who are in the same boat can provide valuable insights and support.
Community is such a big part of this journey. Plus, you never know when you might find a potential partner or mentor.
Yes! And speaking of learning, I think there are some great books and podcasts out there.
Oh, for sure. One book that often comes up is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It changes the way a lot of people think about money and investing.
Absolutely. And the book on rental property investing by Brandon Turner is another solid choice. It's practical and full of actionable advice.
And for podcasts, I really like BiggerPockets podcast. They have so many real-life stories and tips from experienced investors.
That's a fantastic resource.
I think starting small, like we mentioned, is the way to go. Just take those actionable steps and build your confidence over time.
Yes. Start where you are. No need to rush into anything.
And don't forget to track your progress. Keeping a journal or spreadsheet can help you see how far you've come, which is motivating in itself.
Great point. It's encouraging to look back and see all the steps you've taken.
So with these tools in your pocket, you're ready to move forward. let's recap what we've covered today.
So as we wrap up, let's just quickly recap some of the key takeaways from our discussion on using home equity lines for down payments.
Yeah, for sure. One major point was how leveraging your home equity can really open up new opportunities for purchasing investment properties.
Exactly. And it's all about making smart, calculated moves rather than just diving in headfirst. Understanding your equity and how to use it effectively is crucial.
Right. And we also talked about the importance of having a solid plan. You want to ensure that you're not just taking on debt for the sake of it, but rather that you're investing in your future.
Yes, and let's not forget the potential risks involved. It's essential to have a clear understanding of your financial situation before tapping into that equity.
Absolutely. It's about balancing those risks with the potential rewards, right? Building long-term wealth is a journey, not a sprint.
Well said, Sarah. And remember, real estate can be a fantastic vehicle for wealth creation, especially when approached thoughtfully.
Exactly. If you're over 40 and considering investing in real estate, this could be a great time to evaluate your options and see how home equity might work for you.
And if you found today's episode helpful, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and maybe drop a comment sharing your biggest takeaway or any questions you might have.
Yes, and consider sharing this episode with someone else who's also looking to invest in property. You never know who might benefit from this information.
Definitely. We want to build a community of informed investors who can support each other along the way.
For sure. And next time, we'll dive into something really interesting. Cross-collateralization, the risks and rewards involved.
That's right. It's going to be a valuable discussion, so you won't want to miss it.
Thanks for joining us today. And remember, every step you take towards understanding real estate brings you closer to your financial goals.
Until next time, take care and keep investing wisely.